Kwame, thank you for agreeing to be interviewed by Bragbox. I just wanted to have a conversation with you because, like, many people are starting to consider working abroad, and it just felt natural to talk to you, really, because you are abroad at the moment. You're in Baltimore.
I'm in my office here at Centre Stage in Baltimore.
And I just wanted to talk to you just in terms of how you feel about working abroad, and just to get a little glimpse in terms of your experience and how it's been to date. So at the moment you're Artistic Director of Centre Stage, so congratulations on your new job. How's it going so far?
It's going alright, you know, it's going alright. I think I slightly underestimated the amount of energy that it takes to relocate yourself and your family and take over a building and try and, you know, turn it into an old-fashioned into the establishment that you want it to be. But good. It's going well. It's going well. My staff here are brilliant. The town is brilliant. The city is great. So it's going well. I've just been challenged with energy, I think, just to kind of keep the energy going.
So let's go back just in terms of how it all started. So how did the opportunity come about for you to work in Baltimore?
This theatre has produced two of my plays that I've directed here over the last 5 years, and I was an associate artist here. And when the outgoing artistic director decided to leave, I was approached to see whether I would put my hat in the ring, as it were. And at first I was a bit like, do I really want to go to America to run a building? I never really thought about that. Being an artistic director was never really part of my plan. It wasn't on my tick box. But I really love this theatre, and I really love the city, and I felt that it felt like it'd be a natural evolution for me, a naturally evolutionary move for me to come and try this out. So that's kind of how it happened, and I had 18 interviews.
18 interviews.
18 interviews, and then they offered the job. So, and here I am.
So you never considered actually moving, uprooting, because you've got a family as well that you've had to uproot to go to Baltimore. That never came in your mind before the opportunity came up?
Really. I mean, I know a lot of actors have been doing the go to America, go to LA thing, and quite correctly, I never quite had the energy to want to do the LA thing. But I always admired the actors that had that initiative and that get up and go and that drive. And also, they were responding to an environment where there was a real glass ceiling on black actors in Britain and black writers. So I certainly understood it, but no, I hadn't quite thought about that before. That wasn't part of my plan. I think if I could speak French, I certainly, after doing the Senegal festival, that I certainly would have considered moving out to West Africa, moving to Senegal, because I loved it so much. But pre that, I never really thought about it.
So was it a hard decision to make once you got that call and they said, we want you to come over to Baltimore to run this theatre? Was it a hard decision to make?
No, it wasn't a hard decision. I'd spoken about it with my wife, I'd spoken about it with my family while I was interviewing. So we had kind of done the hardest things was considering whether my family would want to do the move. You know, I work abroad a lot, so the idea of working abroad for, 3 or 5, however many years the contract lasts for, wasn't necessarily a hard thing. I think, I probably spent at least 6 months out of England most years. So, no, it wasn't quite hard, and it's an adventure. Going to learn a new culture from the inside, not as a visitor. Going to, take over a building and be the person that I curse about all the time. Being the person who is the gatekeeper, and I felt that I felt that it would be a good opportunity to try and investigate that side of the Great Divide. So no, it wasn't a difficult decision.
So you spoke about it being challenging. So I'm just interested to hear from you. Like, what were the challenging aspects of moving abroad?
I think the challenging aspect was getting a social security number, having to go to the social security office like 8 times in a row, trying to get that. I think the the challenge in trying to get my driver's license transferred and my credit card. And really big challenge is that you don't walk with your credit, which might be good for some people or not. But basically, I can't get a lot of things on credit here because, like a mortgage initially in a car and stuff, because I have no credit here. I have no money loaned to me here, and so with a low credit score, you can't. It's negotiating those things that have been kind of not challenges, but these slight irritants. But that's for anybody that moves into a new country. I think artistically, one of the challenges is getting used to being the boss, and it's not a term that I'm used to, or not a suit that I'm used to wearing. Yes, I wore it at the festival, but it's just not a suit that I'm comfortable wearing. But one understands that unless you do grow into it, that your staff are unsure how to deal with you. Your staff are unsure how to. They're unsure whether you're asking a question or you're giving an order.
Right.
So I'm having to grow to that. And I think also at the moment, I'm getting multiple scripts in, and I'm saying no much more than I'm saying yes. And I took the job so I could say yes to the kind of things that I want to say yes to. So that's a slight thing that I'm having to get used to. Those are the major challenges.
So you've spoken about Senegal because you worked at Senegal before you got this job.
Yeah.
But have your past experiences helped you or prepared you for this move?
Yes, I mean, being artistic director of the World Festival of Black Arts and Culture and working with a staff of thousands and having to manage something like that to get it on its feet taught me that I like that. I like the organizational part of it. I like the managerial part of it. I don't separate that from the art. And so that certainly gave me a confidence that I can do it and that I'm comfortable in it. I think being an associate and being on the board at the National has really been the major thing that has given me a mental framework for working within an institution, what can be achieved and what can't. Our budget sizes are very different, but we're a 10 million organisation, the National is a 70. But to scale, being at the National, I think that being close to how things are run there, that gave me a great sense of purpose and of where I could possibly go and things that I could possibly do. So that's a long way round of saying, has my past equipped me to do this job? My past as a playwright, as an actor, and being close to the National and Senegal have all led to me feeling comfortable in this role.
And in terms of, is there a cultural difference? I mean, I know I'm going to speak to loads of people who are probably going to be working in different countries which speak a different language, but how's that been for you, from an English boy?
There is a cultural difference, and the cultural difference, it doesn't seem as I've probably spent 3 months in the States per year, every year for the last 10 maybe, and but it's really different understanding a culture when you're a visitor, I think. I mean, just simply, this is the first, I'd have to rent my home, I'm about to buy a home, just understanding how refuge is collected, or trash as they call it here, is getting the right language constructed, where the boards give money to be part of the boards. Well, we don't do that in Britain. Understanding, and I'm not even just driving on the other side of the road, but just understanding a culture from the inside, and a building, a system, and an organisation from the inside, and having to head it. There's a lot to learn.
And what are the benefits of working in Baltimore that you've found so far?
Wow, the benefits are, it's new. I've been here 8 weeks. And so the benefits have been having an idea and seeing it made manifest. I think that's the attraction to any form of power, be it large or small, which is that your ideas can be executed. The negative side of that is, of course, if the idea is bad, then the buck stops at you. I'm happy with the buck stops either way. So the benefits are that you can shape something, and if you get it right, you can you can reap the rewards of having contributed, and your idea recognizes having contributed to something greater than just yourself.
But is there anything additional learned by working not in London, because that's the place that we're familiar with, but actually working somewhere completely different, somewhere?
I don't know. I won't be able to say how that's going to affect me when I come back to England in terms of benefit. But there certainly is a benefit of landing in another culture and trying to create art. I think there is, and the constituent parts of that, how to assemble those together, how to get that how to make it work. Yes, there is great benefits in that I'm learning systems. I'm learning how to motivate and how to create and what works and what doesn't.
And in terms of any advice that you could give for a young person who is considering to work abroad, what advice would you give?
That's quite hard. Advice is really easy to give when it's in the abstract. You can give these great bits of wisdoms from on high. I think my parents came from the West Indian island of Grenada to England when they were young, and the bravery of crossing 4,000 miles to a new alien culture and to try and succeed is something that I will take my hat off forever. I'd say do it while you're young, and if not, make sure that the experiences that you bring to a new culture are profoundly yours and something that you think the culture you're coming to may not have. What's interesting for me is, having had the wealth of experience that I have, I can come into a culture and come into this building and say, well, this is the way that this culture does it, or this is the way that this building does it, or this is the way that this system does it, and know that they hear me as being able to value add, not to take away. And even if I don't understand the culture, I don't understand the system, they know I'm simply trying to value add, and that my experience allows me to value add. So I would say to young people, make sure that you are value adding to the country that you're trying to go to. Because that's the question they're going to ask you at immigration: what are you bringing to my country? That's the question that they're going to bring when you walk into a casting. What are you bringing to this project, potentially? And know what you're bringing and be clear about it.
Okay, thank you, Kwame. That wraps up our interview for Bragbox. And if we think of any more questions, I'm sure we've got a forum as well. So if anybody comes over with any more questions, then we'll forward them on to you. But thank you so much for being a part of this.
Anyone, and I want to hear from no one. Yeah, Tom had called you. Did you get a call?
No.
Okay, yeah, I'm just coming off this Skype and I'm waiting for his one. Yeah,
you're online.
I'm online. I'm on Skype. Thanks, man. Sorry, that's my assistant. I should be on another meeting.
Okay, well, thank you for finding the time for us, and
no, I didn't find time.
Best of luck.
You. This idea, I'm loving your entrepreneurial mind. I'm loving your sense of service. Big up to you, Sim. Big up to the project.